So I just received an email an hour ago. Well, something more than a bit more, a bit more than an hour. So this is an email from the president of Higher Instance Court, or I think the right name, the alternative name would be appearing court. So court which decides on a decision of other lower instance court, and this is president of the court again. Her name is Sladjana Bojkovic. So she's the president of the court and of course judge. So she answered a request from the prosecution of appeals in Belgrade. So they forwarded my, they call it submission, but it's not submission, because by the definition of crime report, so if I go to if I go to law of criminal proceedings, and this is the part related to crime reports, so the most important part, and the law on criminal proceedings is the most important, is the basis of police and prosecution work, and of course it affects courts as well, because based on the crime report, lawsuit is filed to courts if there are if certain conditions are met. So of course it's filed by a state prosecutor, and it says here, so this is article 280. It says that first it says state and other institutions should report crime acts which are prosecuted ex officio, meaning by the definition of the job of prosecutors. So this means that first thing to be examined when any document is received, either by, it says here that this is about not reporting crime. It's also you can go to jail for that as well. So so it says here that crime report must be reported first by state institutions. So when I sent the document that the president is referring here, I was just asking for explanation. I wasn't asking for any sort of action, because they cannot act anymore, as I reported them to DOJ, US DOJ, and US is on the top of the United Nations, and all the other international institutions. So it's the same as if I reported them to UN and Human rights court and so on and so on. So it says here, this is the most important part. So so the first thing that that should be examined when either it says here that crime report can be filed to police, non-acting state prosecutor or court. This is also important. So the court also can receive a crime report. So this crime report, if it's non-acting state prosecutor, should be forwarded immediately. So it says here immediately to the acting state prosecutor. If it is the crime which is which should be investigated ex officio, so by the definition of the job. So some crimes are not or offenses are not ex officio, something like some private offenses and so on. They are not investigated by state prosecutor, but other, like murders or similar is investigated, and the state prosecutor acts by the definition of the job. So nobody needs to tell the state prosecutor to act. So he is or she is acting ex officio, so by the definition of her or his job. So first thing, when you receive any document, first thing to do is to check out if this is crime report. So not a submission, not a lawsuit or similar, but the crime report. And also what is important here is that I should not, or anyone who files the crime report, he just need, or she, that person needs just to state the proofs for that crime, or in general case it can be an article from newspaper. So I don't need, or anyone who files the report don't need to explain anything to qualify the crime and so on and so on. So and this is exactly what the president is asking me here to. So she says here that my, again, submission is not clear and they cannot understand what I want. Even though the state, so this is this so-called submission is forwarded by prosecution of appeals. So the highest instance of prosecution there is only one above them, which is a republic prosecutor. So they should first, what should they do first should have been done first by this prosecution. So by prosecution of appeals is to check out if this is crime report. They haven't done that, they just assumed its submission. So this is a brutal breaking of the most important law for which is basis for police and prosecution job work. Sorry. So this part is how to This is again another important article beside this one. So this is here is explained how to how you can file a report. It can be verbal as well. So crime report can be verbal as well. It can be filed by email or phone. And again, this is the most important part. So when the crime report is filed, it should be immediately. So again, immediately forwarded to acting state prosecutor, if that prosecutor should act ex officio. So again, it doesn't say here anything that I need to explain, or anyone who files the report that needs to explain in details what type of crime is in question, and so on and so on. So only the proofs need to be added to that report. So again, what the president of court is asking is not something that that is defined by the law. So if I look I think it's I'm trying to find the part about the submission. I think it's 2.8. So this is about submission, because you can also file a submission, and it says here that submission is lawsuit, proposal. I don't know how to translate that. Basically, advice what you can do in certain cases, legal advice, and statement, so it does says here that it needs to be written in the way that people can understand it. What is the purpose of that submission, but it doesn't say that submission is a crime report. So so this is chapter 10. Well, this is not important, so let's see. This is about, again, part about submission and reports. Let's see the other chapters. So again, this is not clearly defined. What is exactly the submission? So this is submission and reports, but not crime reports. So this is about reports. There is note. It should be. It's better to translate it as notes. So submission and notes. Recording. Special kinds of notes. Not important. Blah blah blah. This is what documents. Yeah, documents that are sent by the court to citizens, people who are convicted, and so on and so on. This is not important. So this is about costs. The proceedings, not important. This is about decisions. So this is about proceeding itself, the order of the phases in the proceedings. So the first thing, pre-investigating proceeding, is about the crime report. So this is crime report here. It doesn't say anything about, let me check it out. Submission. Submission, or in Serbian podnesak. And again, this is not properly defined. What is exactly? So it says lawsuit, let's see what is the first part. Yeah, general. This is general part. So so again, I'm trying to find the submission within the report, within the crime report, if there is any. So this part is about crime report. This is again pre-investigating proceeding. When the facts are collected and the witnesses are where police or the prosecutor takes the statement from witnesses and so on and so on. So pre-investigative, and it doesn't say anything. So it said I highlighted everything. Nothing is mentioned here about the submission. Nothing. Okay, so this is indictment, and still nothing about the submission. So it doesn't have anything to do with crime report, and the another proof that it doesn't have anything to do. It doesn't say anything about explaining the report. So only proofs need to be added. Every proof that the one who files the report knows. So nothing about explanation, nothing about the qualification of crimes and so on and so on. Because again, this is when it's ex officio. This is it's a job of the prosecutor to do that, to figure out if this is a crime report or not. So the prosecution of appeals doesn't know their job, which is, I mean, a scandalous. So this is this trick. This trick is something that they're using the whole time. So they are considering my documents, which are crime reports, as submission, as something else, and that gives them a huge room for manipulation. This is again scandalous and brutal breaking of the law, and not any law, but the most important. This is the most important part of this law. So law of criminal proceedings, because everything starts with crime report, and they're brutally breaking this part. So again, this is not a submission but a crime report, and the prosecution of appeals needed, what they should have been doing is to file a lawsuit to the proper court. In this case, this court is international court, and I'll show afterwards why it's international court. But let's just go to this whole document. So she says here, the president, they received the the document, the submission with the supplements, and she didn't say which supplements, which is again illegal. So everything must be included, all the details. So again, this is another way to omit the details in order to give them room to manipulate the law as much as they want. So first off, there should be here, first thing that must stay here is the part of the law and the part of the law which enabled prosecution of appeals in Belgrade to forward this to this court, to forward my documents to this court. This is omitted, and they omitted what I actually sent them and how I sent them. I have another video on that. Which parts, which data information is mandatory in every document such as this. This is basically a request to for additional data, and this also it should stay here. Request for additional data, and this is also omitted. So a lot of data is missing. A lot of information is missing here on purpose. So again, to give them the room to manipulate the law. So as I said, they consider this. I don't know what exactly, because I don't know what they sent. From my phone calls to prosecution of appeals in Belgrade, they joined the three cases into one case. Three cases. One is from two cases are from cases in prosecution appeals. So these are cases in prosecution of appeals in Belgrade. They had three cases regarding murders of my family. 3 members of my family. They joined them and sent them to. I think they said they sent this to higher instance of prosecution, but now it appears they sent to also to the court. So again, I don't know what they sent because it's not stated here. It could be anything, but I assume this is that document that people from documents office told me. So I called them, and I think I recorded that. So so again, President is stating that she cannot figure out if it is new submission or the answer to the to the higher to the decision of her court. So it's none of that. I just asked for some answers. They cannot act. I didn't want them to act because they cannot act now as a reporting to international institutions. So this is another breaking of the law. So she's referring to something that I don't understand what exactly this is, because I filed a lot of requests. So again, this is another proof, another example why they are insisting on treating all my crime reports. So again, crime reports as submissions, because in that case they can ask for e-signature, and I will show right away when I'm finished with this that they don't have the mail that they sent me with this document doesn't have let me see, certificate. So it doesn't have the certificate, and they're asking me for e-signature, which is amazing. And I'll show now they cannot ask for my e-signature. I explained that in another video. This is something I think from, I explained that in details, I think it was September or November 2019. So again, the president is stating some document which is related to courts proceedings, although this document is above that. I don't need that anymore. So again, she's asking for e-signature. This is the document which defines some internal rules of the courts. So she's using that to ask for the e-signature, and I have 8 days. I think that she already sent me similar document to provide this signature. Or this will be rejected. So a lot of breaking of the laws, even international laws. Most of this is international, and I'll show now why this is international, breaking of international laws. So first I need to prove that. So as I explained in previous video, I think it's the email, within the email sent on 9th last month, 9th of July, the 9th of July last month. So I explained that they actually admitted they didn't have encryption. It was non-encrypted connection, which is again breaking of the law, and they're asking me for his signature. So they were constantly sending me emails. So this court was sending me emails with, I have everything in another video on my channel, YouTube channel. So they were constantly sending me without encryption, which is illegal, against the law. And the last email, the email I received before this one and this email were the first emails that have encryption, meaning that they basically, I already explained that, but I'm explaining that again, which basically means that they admitted they were breaking the law and they were not right, but they still have this certificate missing. So as you can see here, they don't have signature, which is mandatory. So this certificate is not trusted. I basically don't know who they are. So I'll now show when I send them all the data. and that those data contains my report to Interpol. So they confirmed here they received an email. So this means they confirmed they received an email, and this is the email they received. It's sent on December 6th of December 2019. So that was in 2019, almost 2 years ago. So if I click here, this is a folder which contains one very interesting folder. This is the main folder, but it contains one very interesting folder, which is Interpol. And I have screenshots here from my Twitter account. This is my Twitter account. And the date is very interesting. The date is 8th of July 2019. This is when I reported the top of Ministry of Interior of Serbia for involvement in international organized crime, and this is created in October 11th of October 2019. So they have all those data, but they never mentioned. None of the prosecution officers or courts or anyone, police and so on and so on, even Serbian parliament never mentioned that. They never mentioned they have this these screenshots. So what is important regarding these screenshots, this should also have been mentioned by the state institutions, so prosecution offices, courts and so on, is PUSD. So this folder is closely related to folder Interpol. So PUSD is the local police station where in the area where my father lived, and yeah. So as can be seen here, the police, and this is the person who's in charge of that police department, the city Smederevo. They sent my report on the monstrous crime, which I filed on 22nd of June 2019. They forwarded that to higher instance of prosecution, again in Smederevo, which is city in Serbia. This is the area where my father lived. So they forwarded this 24 hours after I reported top of Ministry of Interior to for involvement in international organized crime. So I reported that to Interpol using Twitter, because Interpol was ignoring me, ignoring my phone calls and my emails. I have proofs of that. So the fact they are ignoring this, they never mention this ever, is clear proof who is behind this. So who is protecting monstrous murder of 3 members of my family, and these are international institutions. So by the law they need to mention that. So they need to state that I send them this folder, and I will show now why I have full right to send it, that is to store those data using G Drive. I'm also using YouTube, so it's YouTube. There's not much difference regarding storing. Actually, there is a difference with uploading. You cannot easily upload YouTube videos it should be easy to upload, and this is illegal. What YouTube is doing, that it should be enabled to download the videos. You can download them using add-ons and so on and so on. But in general, it's not out of the box functionality. But again, I can choose what any of the secure platforms for storing or sharing, storing and sharing documents. So they cannot tell me which platform to use. So I'm using here the G drive, and if I try to send as an attachment file which is more than 20 megabytes, I won't be able to do that unless I store that file to G drive. So I can use G drive or YouTube or Dropbox or any secure platform to send the data to the state institutions, and they are on purpose omitting these, which is illegal. Again, because of this folder, this is international crime, and not just because of this folder, but also because of this folder. So this is my exchange with the Ministry of Justice of Netherlands. They needed to include that as well. So all state institutions, and again, I sent this to Serbian Parliament, and they never answered ever. Again, this clearly shows who is behind this. So international institutions are the ones who are protecting monstrous murder on my family, because it goes straight to the American embassy at that time, at time when Slobodan Milosevic, former president of Yugoslavia, is arrested and sent to Hague or Hague, whatever. So this is why those people who are basically they're just slaves to their masters, Western masters, they are not allowed to mention that. So this is again brutal and scandalous breaking of all possible international laws. And I'm showing again here that they are not using the secure connection. And what I want to show, but nothing about the certificate here. What I want to show here is to print this. Blocker. Oh. Okay, I actually don't need to print it. I just need to see if all the data are stored here. And by all data, the data I mean the data which are related to non-encrypted connection. Encrypt, so I need to look for encrypt. No. So those data are not stored here. I'm showing this because this is the way the state institutions are printing and sending my documents to the judges, to acting judges, acting prosecutors, and so on and so on. This is how they are doing this in their document office, which again is wrong. But fortunately, I sent them how it should be done here. And this is why why I had the screenshots, because some data are lost when you print. In this case, encrypt data about encryption, which are very important. So I'll show here. This is the court. This is the related folder of that court. So current instance court that I just received email from the president. So if I click here, no, this is not it. Yeah, so that's it. So this is why I added everything as screenshots, because no data are lost then, and they can see, provided that they examine this, they can see that they don't have, I mean, any judge or president in this case of this court should have seen this and fix this immediately. And they waited for almost 2 years to fix it, admitting that they made a mistake. It looks as I don't have this email. I should add it, but I don't need to add it now because I have a video on this. So this proves that I have full right, and this is justified to store data as screenshots, because nothing is lost. So I was doing everything to preserve all the data and to provide all the data they needed. And they did nothing. Not just that, they are asking me for e-signature, and they don't have the. So I missed here. I should have here the expanded sender's info to show that. But again, I don't need that now, because everything is shown in the video I created. Yeah, so and I also warned them about this. So I warned them about this. They did nothing. Okay, so and I also need to show that the data about certificate are not. I don't need this anymore. Are not sent. Are not printed. And again, this is important because they are. I don't know, maybe there is an option to print this, to print those data, but so. No, nothing about that. So this is the way they're printing the documents that I sent to them. So again, this is brutal breaking and scandalous breaking of even international laws, considering the Interpol folder. So I think that should be it. Yeah, and I just need to mention something regarding the acting prosecutor in my family's murder case. I'll create a separate video on about him. So his name is Alexander Kuzmanovic. This is from magazine Tabloid, which is basically a tabloid about mafia. And it says here that this prosecutor applied to be a judge, but could not be judged because he was convicted for stealing money in the train, I think. Yeah. So let's see how this is translated in English. No. So he was stealing from people in trains. This was train from Belgrade to Skopje. Skopje is in the capital Macedonia, or whatever it is called now. North Macedonia, or former Yugoslav Republic, or whatever. So you know what I mean. The former Republic of Yugoslavia, Macedonia. So, but even though he wasn't able to be a judge, he is from place Smederevska Palanka, which is near the place in country where I live. It's like 12 kilometers from where I live in country. So, but still he was able to be a deputy prosecutor in the higher instance of prosecution in Smederevo, again the city where my father lived, area where my father lived. So this city is basically the capital quarter of that area. And he was elected as part of Democratic Party, which is party of late Zoran Đinđić, who was prime minister who was murdered. So he was in charge. So he was in charge for my case, and he committed a lot of crimes regarding that case. Again, as I shown in the Interpol folder, these are all international cases. So I don't know how he's going to get away with this. But again, I will create a separate video on him, on his colleague, Vesna Mladenovic, from the same prosecution office, and on the guy who is in charge, Dragan Lopushina. So there will, so he's a prosecutor, and they are deputy prosecutors, which are basically acting, and a prosecutor is just observing their job, basically, and acting in cases, some irregular cases. So that should be it about Aleksandar Kuzmanovic. Just want to show you who this guy is. Okay, I think I covered everything. So again, the president of the court is brutally breaking the law in a scandalous way, and not just it's not just something that she's doing, but also the highest instance of prosecution in Belgrade. So prosecution of appeals. There's only one prosecution about them, which is Republic Prosecutor. They are also involved in this. They're doing the same thing. They're just forwarding the cases to them, to prosecution of appeals in Belgrade, and they are considering everything as submission, which is, it's not a submission, it's a crime report, and they should act ex officio. Okay, I think I covered everything. I'll now upload this video and send it to the president of the court. Just need to check out if I missed something. So I mentioned what is missing here. Some more data, what this is all about. They could, because this is email, they could just send send everything they received from prosecution of appeals, but for some reason they don't want to do that, so that I know what they're missing. So that they say it's not clear what they want, but they haven't sent what is exactly what I sent them. Okay, because this is not enough. That it just says here that they received something, so something which is considered submission from the prosecution of appeals in Belgrade on certain dates, which is amazing. Okay, so I think I have covered everything, and I really don't have time. I mean, I have new notes on this. I probably missed something, but for now this will be only video, and I will upload it now to the to my YouTube channel. So for now I'm done with this.